Alright, so today we're going to be talking about the European theater and the Pacific theater. So when we're talking about a theater, we're talking about a different front in the war. So like we talked about, this war is going on at the same time, and we've got different troops fighting in different locations all over the world. One of the significant battles that you need to know is going to be the Battle of Atlantic. Okay, so obviously this one is being fought over the Atlantic Ocean or in the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so this is going to be mostly a naval battle. Okay, so this is going to be an attack from Germany to pretty much stop the Allied powers. Okay, so again, the Atlantic Ocean, specifically in between the United States and Great Britain, and go ahead and get the goal down. Now we're talking about Battle of the Atlantic. You've already talked about this idea of convoy system, so you only need to write it down if you need a refresher on what it means. Okay, remember, convoy is guiding these ships to get supplies across the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, why the Allied forces succeed in the Battle of Atlantic? They are able to break the German code. Okay, so if you look at this picture over here, it's called the Enigma, and basically they can encrypt codes or keep them very secret. So when we crack this code, basically we know where and when Germany is going to attack. Okay, so again, German U-boats are very successful in sinking these ships because of this idea of being wolf packs. They traveled at night and torpedoed these ships. Okay. Operation Torch, big thing you need to know, is creating a three-front war. So now we're fighting in the Pacific against Japan, we're fighting in Europe against Germany, and we're fighting against Italy and the other Axis powers in Northern Africa. Okay, so remember, you labeled this part on your map already. Okay, so again, make sure that you know that's Allied invasion of Africa, and the goal is to move up through Northern Africa into Italy, and again, moving closer to Germany. If you look at geographically, Germany is right in the middle of everything, so we kind of got to move around from the outside to get to Germany, okay? Erwin Rommel, again, he would be kind of a good idea to use for your key figures. He's a German tank general, okay? Held in very high regards for his achievements. All right, the next one we're talking about is Battle of Stalingrad. Okay, this top part right here is going to be a refresher. So understand that Hitler already broke his non-aggression pact. So remember, originally Hitler promised Stalin that he would not attack the Soviet Union. Okay, at this point, Hitler has already broken that pact and attacked the Soviet Union. The Battle of Stalingrad is going to be one of the most significant events. Okay, again, kind of get the date, but you don't need to know casualties. But understand this is going to have a massive impact, particularly on the Soviet Union. Okay. Fortunately for the Allied powers, the Soviet Union was able to hold back Germany. Okay, get this part highlighted, understand. This is going to be the turning point of the war in Europe because the Soviet Unions were able to push the Germans back. Okay, so again, Germany is going to be attacking, moving in through the Soviet Union. They're going to be able to hold them back and eventually make them surrender and push them back. D-Day, probably one of the most important battles that we talk about in World War II. Okay, get this date, very important. Okay, where is this taking place? In France, Normandy, France. It's also called Operation Overlord, and basically, you need to know on this part, it's the largest amphibious invasion. So we're talking about land, air, and sea. Okay, and the goal is to take back control of France and then again move into Germany. Remember, Germany is a neighbor of France, and at this point, France has already fallen to Germany. Alright, so we already kind of looked at this, but make sure you know Allied invasion of German-occupied France. You kind of got that in the last slide. This is going to be important because Germany is losing control of the French coast. This is giving the Allied powers a door to come in from France and kind of retake France over. Okay, remember, Germany is right here, France is here. So if we're invading France, this gives us a door to get into Germany. Okay, so you see this trend in all of these battles. Germany and the Axis powers are losing territories that they gained at the start of the war. Battle of the Bulge is going to be one of the last major battles in Europe. Okay, this is happening over the winter, going to have a huge impact on the way the fight goes out. German surprise attacked the Allied powers, but again, the Allied forces were able to shut them down. Make sure you know this charge was kind of led by George Patton. Again, just kind of a background if you choose to use him as one of your key figures. All right, it's called the Battle of Bulge because basically what happens is because it's a surprise attack, all of the Allied forces get bunched up at the front line, okay? It was hard for them to move at first, okay? Over the next couple of days, the Allied powers kind of be able to spread out and get organized. And again, Germany was not able to stop us, and we continued to move closer to Germany. You can get the Navajo code talkers down. Basically, we use Native Americans to transmit our own secret codes, but this is going to be mostly in the Pacific, which we get ready to talk about. All right, war in the Pacific. Okay, so now we're going to the other side of the world. Okay, you need to know the strategy called island hopping. Okay, so the United States is going to be able to bounce from island to island to island in hopes of taking back over the territory gained by Japan at this point. All right, so again, remember, Pearl Harbor is what is bringing the United States into the war, and this is going to kind of lead to our fight in the Pacific. So at Pearl Harbor, our fleet was damaged. This is kind of a confidence booster for Japan. So Japan starts to take over other islands in the Pacific that were controlled by the Allies. So any territory still maintained by Britain or the United States. Battle of Coral Sea, very similar to the idea of Battle of the Atlantic. Okay, the Navy was able to stop Japan from invading a military base. Okay, so main significance is we're able to stop a Japanese attack. So remember, they're feeling very confident, kind of rolling through these islands. We were able to stop Japan at this point. Okay, biggest thing, Battle of Midway. Think about midway, turning point, halfway, however you can remember, okay? Go ahead and get what's in red. This is the turning point in the war in the Pacific. Again, just like the Battle of Atlantic, at this point, we broke Japanese intelligence code as well. So we could kind of foresee where attacks were coming from. Okay, now with this, just go ahead and get the first 2 points, okay? When we talk about the United States being an industrial power, this means that because we were producing so many war materials, we were able to replace airplanes, these naval ships, and anything else that were destroyed in the Pacific. The Japanese, we've talked about all semester long, were very slow to industrialize, okay? So if we destroyed one of their ships or one of their planes, they could not replace it as easily. Okay, we use this to our huge advantage. So go ahead and get this first one and this second point. Okay, I'm not really concerned about this point right here. One main strategy used by the Japanese were kamikaze pilots. You probably heard that term before. Basically, these pilots were suicide pilots. Okay, they thought it was an honor to die for their country, so they thought their best strategy was to make sure that they hit the target by running their plane into United States ships. And we're going to stop right there for now.